Well, it's Otho Gold. He's sitting out here in the garden today. I'm looking right at a chipmunk hole. Now, this chipmunk crawled up into this bag that I had in my garage and chewed a hole in it and scattered feed out all over the place. So I know it likes this feed, and I'm going to put some feed right here by its burrow, and maybe I can lure it out just to have a little conversation, you know, to kind of get things straight. I don't want him going into my garage and eating food. I'll put food out for him. Anyway, reminded me about chipmunks growing up. I'm sure some of you remember them, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. You know, Christmas time is here. You remember the chipmunks? We used to have a 45. We'd put that on when we were kids, and we'd play it over and over and over again. It would drive Mom crazy. She didn't like the chipmunks, but we just thought they were hilarious, you know? Well, I'm patiently waiting on this chipmunk to come out. Not a word yet. Come on in, chipmunk. You know, maybe if he heard my voice in talking in chipmunk, he might be enticed to come out. Anyway, it brings up something I read in the National Enquirer just recently. I love the Enquirer. You know, in this era of fake news, all this misinformation, I can at least count on the Enquirer for some factual stories. But anyway, there was a story about a drunk that went into a bar, and he asked the bartender, he said, "If I show you a trick, will you pour me a drink?" And the bartender said, "Well, it just depends on what the trick is." Well, this drunk reaches into his pocket and pulls the chipmunk out, sets it up on the piano, and this piano, or the chipmunk, just started playing the most beautiful jazz riff. Well, the bartender was so amazed, he said, "I've never seen anything like that." He quickly poured the drunk another drink, and he said, Can you do something like that again?" He said, "Well, I got an even better trick than that." He reached into his pocket again and pulled out a rat. Set the rat up there, and the chipmunk was playing a jazz riff, and the rat was scatting. Boo boo bop boo 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 boo. And so the bartender just kept pouring drinks. He'd never seen anything quite like that. And after a while, a television person came in, and he saw this act going on, and he rushed over. He was so excited. He said, "Who owns this act?" And the bartender said, "Well, that guy over there's passed out on the floor." And he woke him up. He said, "Sir, I'll give you $1 million for that act." And the drunk looked up at him and said, No way." And he said, "Okay, how about $100,000 just for the rat that's doing all that scatting?" And the drunk said, "Okay, well, you know, this TV person writes out a check for $100,000 and leaves with the rat." The bartender came over to the drunk, scratching his head, said, "Man, are you daffy? You just gave up $1 million for $100,000. What's wrong with you?" And the drunk just looked at him and said, "No, don't worry about it. The chipmunk is a great ventriloquist. Y'all be good."